like to call to order the Common Council meeting for June 28th, 2022 at 6 p.m. Attendance roll call.
Alderpersons Madden.
Here.
Kubaki.
Here.
Schrader.
Here.
Kapusta.
Here.
Terrence.
Here.
Hamel.
Here.
And Wolf.
Here.
We have a quorum present.
Thank you. Statement of public notice.
The meeting was noticed in accordance with the open meeting law.
Thank you. Public comment section. This is for anyone that would like to speak on anything on the agenda. If you filled out a form, you'll be able to speak at that agenda item, and then we can have interaction with you. If anyone wants to talk at this time of the meeting, it's one-way communication. You're talking to us. We won't be able to respond. So if there's a specific agenda item that you want to have a conversation with us out, fill out one of these forms. Otherwise, all right. Thank you. Communications from the mayor's office. Oh, sorry. All right. Sure, yeah. I just state your name and address.
Can we turn that mic on?
Yeah, he's going to turn it on for you. And just state your name and address, Ryan.
Hi, Ryan Oshman from Bass Bay Brewhouse, South 79, West 15851, Audemars Drive. In Muskego, to talk about the new closing times, or the time that we're looking at making a kind of blanketed change to the liquor license holding establishments for when we can and cannot have alcohol consumed outside of our building. I think Mayor Pawlowski did a great job of stating probably most of the concerns that the business owners in the city would have with this. I guess personally, I don't really understand why we're trying to do this blanketed thing for everyone when there's so many different types of establishments out there. Mayor Pawlowski had, referenced breakfast places to be able to start serving, before 9 o'clock in the morning. For us, we're a banquet hall, event space, and restaurant. Restaurants really don't make a ton of money off of food. Like on the weekends, our kitchen's open until 10 o'clock at night. We're kind of banking on the fact that people will want to stay later and enjoy cocktails later. Our kitchen's open till 9 o'clock on weeknights, which means that we're serving people food out on our patio on the lake without neighbors around us that have been complaining at all. We haven't gotten a single noise violation, no problems whatsoever in the amount of time that we've been there. And this is something that is directly affecting us. We're serving food, meaning someone could come in at 8:55 and order dinner and expect to sit out on the patio. And by how this is sounding, that we'd have to make them slam their drink and not order more drinks, which again, everyone's aware of how their food bills are going up at grocery stores. Ours are going up right along with that. We have to try to play this balance of how much can we get away with charging for food, hoping the customers are going to consume alcohol or that they'll stay after and have another drink. It's a big deal for us if this were to happen that way. I understand from your positions that this is probably just an easier way to do it, but we all really ask you that we reconsider this and that we address each establishment specifically. I'm sure that there are, places that are causing more of the problems, that are getting more of the complaints. There's a lot of places out there that that aren't in the middle of neighborhoods, that aren't getting noise complaints. And I guess, long story short, we just really ask that you guys keep this the way that it's been. We've had the ability to have alcohol consumed outside of our building until 1:30 in the morning. Most of our weddings end at midnight, but sometimes they don't, and they go later than that. We're saying that, now, as Mayor Pawlowski said, we're supposed to leave beverages inside of an event space or a restaurant unattended, which is completely unsafe for everybody involved. I'm really surprised that this is something that we're actually considering or have voted on. I guess I'm not really 100% on where it's at now, but I really hope that this is something we can reconsider and that we can keep it the way that it was by handling each business's operating hours specifically.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Did you get his address, or do you need it? I got it. Okay.
I made it as well.
Just state your name and address.
Yep, Mark Knutson, West 180, South 7808, Pioneer Drive. Had to remember that one, but just to kind of reemphasize and everything of that sort, I think that there is a lot of potential when it comes down to it, that we can have an open atmosphere to it, and to kind of see a little bit more about those businesses that are doing a lot to kind of pivot based off of what we've already seen over the past couple of years. To be able to put a blanket statement out there, or a blanket curfew in that case, is something that, like I said, would, after watching last time, I think it was last Tuesday's YouTube, just kind of go through the entire thing. I feel like that reconsideration and being able to have a good conversation around it, to emphasize what Ryan said, there are a lot of people doing very good things within it and trying to make sure that this community continues to build and to offer a lot of different things for our community members, as well as outside community members come to it. For us to have those kind of restrictions, not only are we trying to police that, essentially going outside, that adds a lot of undone costs. Not just the food costs continue to rise, but our employee costs continue to rise. And for us to put somebody else out there or have a security team or something like that continues to kind of take away from bottom lines. And, for Ryan and his family, they've been there for a while. We're kind of new kids on the block, but we've appreciated what the city has done prior to this. So therefore, before voting on something that's going to be kind of a limiting factor, we'd really appreciate just more of a conversation. So,
Thank you. All right, moving on with communications from the mayor's office. Just an update from our new HR consultant, some of the stuff she's working on. We just signed an agreement with NeoGov, which is a software package for HR. I'm not sure if any of you are familiar with schools, but like when you apply to schools, everything goes through like one centralized, like all schools use this. Well, most local governments use this. So when people are applying for jobs in local government, it kind of has this central clearinghouse or application process. It also puts us in compliance for tracking resumes and who's all applied and all that. So it's a compliance piece, but that's one of the pieces that she just wrapped up this past week. She's working on some other, the healthcare renewal, as far as getting people signed up in that open enrollment process also right now. Happy 4th of July to everyone coming up. Everyone have a safe and fun holiday. The 3rd of July fireworks sponsored by the Lake Association and Lake District will be going on they'll be lighting off from a barge just off of Idle Isle. The Idle Isle Park will be closed that day until 3 p.m., at which time the park will open for the public. There is also parking available at Park Arthur. Similar process. Actually, it's identical process to what they did last year. It ran pretty smoothly that way. So they're continuing it on that way. And any of you that are willing or wishing to entertain yourselves and your neighbors with a fireworks display, make sure you get a permit. Those permits can only be gotten until the 30th of this month, so you have a day or two left to get those. Just a reminder. Moving on to consent agenda, approval of the common council minutes from June 14th, 2022. And resolution 056-2022, Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources NR 208 compliance maintenance resolution for 2021.
Motion to approve and gross.
Second. Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes unanimously. New business, reconsideration of resolution 054-2022, approval of various license applications for the city of Muskego for the period of July 1st, 2022 to June 30th, 2023. An amended resolution was approved on June 14th, 2022.
Motion to approve the reconsideration of resolution number 54022.
Second.
022.
The way he said that, where it just reconsidered.
0542022. How's that?
Yeah, that's what he said.
it's just a reconsideration.
Yeah, he just
Yeah,
asked for
okay.
reconsideration of it. He did it right. Yeah, and we have a second. All right, so last, as you all recall, yeah, we got to vote to reconsider. Well, no, I can talk first. It's just a discussion before you vote. Sure. As you recall, last meeting, the approval was for just the outside premise licenses. We put some uniform times out there. And I know the council wasn't wishing any haphazards on any of the businesses, but after thinking about it overnight, and then number of establishments contacted both myself, the clerk's office, and I'm sure some of you as well, with some of their concerns on how every business does operate differently, and this does affect each of them. Alderman Kabaki had requested that this be put on for reconsideration. So that being said, all those in favor for the reconsideration, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Now it's back on the floor for discussion. In your packet, there's a memo from me kind of outlining some of the concerns that were expressed to me and some of my concerns. I guess I'll let you guys go from there. Anyone want to start?
Well, I took a look at the attachment of the licenses that are coming up for renewal, and they have varying closing times, which seems to be in concert with how their businesses operate. And I'd make a motion to approve the resolution attachment, the renewal of licenses as presented.
So just to be clear, before we get the second on this, so as applied for?
Correct.
Okay.
Individually for each one?
Yes.
Is that what we did in the past?
Yes.
And I believe
So
there was a blank. There was a blank.
I'll second that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay, now we can have discussion. Alderman Wolf.
There was still a blanket closing time, wasn't there? Isn't that what we talked about with
Last time you did put a blanket hours period, opening, closing, and that just has to do with the outdoor premise area. It has nothing to do with the outside dance permits or anything else. It had to do with the areas of the actually few area licensees that have an area for outside consumption of alcohol.
So right now we're approving them as it comes, and if they say they close at midnight, then that's when it stops. And if they say close at 2, then that's when it stops?
No.
Is that how
So inside your packet, there is all the separate, the applications, and their hours of operation are allowed until, well, I think 2 a.m., 2:30?
Closing time?
Yeah, for bars?
2:30.
2:30. However, each of them have different requests for when their outside areas are allowed people to go out there and consume.
It's the third attachment in the packet. And for example, Alpine Lanes is asking for outside sales till 12 a.m. Busch Gardens has different requests in theirs. So that's what my motion was based on, is that third item in the packet, that I guess the applications for renewal.
Like Gingerbread House, 7 a.m. until 11:30 p.m. That would be in conflict to what you guys had.
So nobody changed it from our last, this is everything before the
This is the
last
same thing that
meeting.
was presented to you last time, but the
Right.
council amended it last time to make them all uniform.
Okay.
So then we would go back to looking at each one of them individually.
Or approving them all individually as
Right.
presented, yes.
Okay.
So if there's something that, from one of these that are presented, that you have concerns with from a noise or historical complaint issue, which we don't have any. The complaints that we've gotten in the past about noise have to do with outside bands. So those are things I would urge you to consider as they come up of, okay, this, we've allowed this, but we're getting complaints, or what type of complaints, but that's the part to look at, I think, not allowing somebody to go out and have a drink outside on a patio until midnight, because really, for the most part, we've not got those type of complaints.
No, and the only concern I would have is that, because we were trying to put a blanket together, somebody brought that up, is that I want to make sure that we don't limit one business so that the people will leave and go to another one. So that would be my concern if if we've been doing this in the past, the way we've been doing it, we hadn't had that problem, but I'd hate to see that problem or concern arise, so.
Yeah, right now, we're just presenting what the business owners themselves want to present.
Yeah, I don't think we really had a problem in the past. I just think it was brought up and then it got into a heavier discussion, and we just kind of limited it and kind of made a blanket statement and moved on. So.
Any further discussion?
I know we were talking, I honestly don't remember exactly what we voted on. It was a long meeting last time. And that sounds more reasonable. I feel like what I was responding to last time was some of that outdoor noise more than allowing people to sit on the patio and have a drink. Because if they want to, they're going to take the drink to their car and then the whole thing is like off. So I'm in favor of that, of what we talked about. And I think we even mentioned addressing things as they come up. If there's a problem, if Mark's place gets rowdy and people file complaints, we can address it at that time.
At any time
Not
that we
they're
get a
going to,
complaint
Mark.
filed, that we can always bring that forward for the finance committee to consider separately, even after we've approved it, so,
So pretty much we're just going to go back the way it was.
the way we've done it in the past.
Okay. So don't fix something that's not broken.
Good way of looking at it, yes. All right. Any
So-
further discussion?
No.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you. Unfinished business, Resolution 047-2022, a resolution to approve three water utility policies. This is still on the floor. No one needs to bring it back. It was just deferred, right?
It was just deferred.
So we can just, yeah. So last meeting, we had some lengthy discussions on what, mainly what the time period will be for responsibility of water trusts entering our system, and how long they'd be obligated for essentially their infrastructure lasting. There's a memo inside your packet under unfinished business. From my memory and from what we had on our notes, the three options that I had listed were the ones that were discussed. You can go any direction you want, but this is more of kind of a synopsis of what we did and just things to consider as going forward. So I'm not sure if anyone wants to start discussion on this. And the reason this was deferred was Alderman Hamel was not here, and this one district being brought forward is in your district.
You weren't here.
I've talked to Dan, is that you? Yep, okay. Numerous times on this. And he brought up a lot of good points. I know we had discussed at council, first 5 years, it would be 100%, and then diminishing 10% after that. And from talking to Dan, that's going to be an issue, I think, with his. And I guess personally, I need some clarification. So what would they be responsible for if they're just a water main break? That is something. Now, what is a complete failure?
You guys maybe come up.
Yeah,
What-
yeah, one of you two come up, but while they're coming up, so a water main break would be considered maintenance.
Yes.
That's not what we're
Yep.
talking about here.
We're really talking about complete replacement of the system.
And we would know that when we would take it over, or not
wouldn't
necessarily
know that.
know it, but would we inspect it?
Short of digging up the pipes and physically looking at them, you really don't know what those pipes look like.
You can't run a camera down water pipes and check
Okay.
them like you can sewer pipes.
So, we're guessing that thing. My thought, we recommended 5 years because my
Right.
thought is in the first 5 years, you're going to know if that system's solid or not. The council brought up the issue of a warranty,
Right.
and I think we ended at 10 years at last meeting is the last discussion.
So you're pretty confident within the first 5 years we take that over, we will know if that is, as best as we can, that
You
it's a
never
pretty
know,
solid.
but
Right.
I would
there's-
think in the first 5 years that we would have a pretty good idea how sound that system is.
Okay. So let's say in year 6, there's a water main break and we determine it's just maintenance, we fix it. In year 7, there's another water main, there's another break. When do we determine, or how do we determine that is a complete replacement?
It wouldn't be one break, it would be multiple breaks,
At the
one
same
after
time.
another that happen
Pretty much at the same
continuously.
time. Okay,
Continuously, not just all at the same time, but continuously year after year after year.
okay.
Sinkholes, things like that. I mean, you just.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a water main break, you fix it and you turn the water back on, you have another one down the road. You fix it and you have another one. Just,
Those can happen at any time.
water main breaks are a fact of life in my business, so they
Yep.
happen.
Yeah.
They happen
Yeah.
more in the older systems, but they happen. So
Okay.
one here and there is not a big issue. It's when they happen over and over and over again.
Okay, great, thank you.
So help me understand this. What's worst case scenario for the city and what's worst case scenario for the resident?
Worst case scenario for us is whatever warranty period you put on it.
Yep.
The system completely fails the day after the warranty is up. And under one of these policies, it says, we're gonna replace those water mains on the utilities nickel.
So the answer for your next question is the same answer. So the best thing for the citizens is for the day after the warranty that we pulled them on, it breaks.
Which is,
Or lasts forever, but I mean,
Right.
but for them, yeah, I guess lasting forever would be the idea. They don't have it torn up in front of their house, but I mean, their responsibility part would have the same answer as his first one.
Pretty much so.
Yeah.
You know, with you saying that you're confident that we would know within the first 5 years, I think we should probably stick to that because they will be paying into it for those first 5 years to the utility. You know, whatever that is. I think you said there's what, 70? There's 70 some homes in there?
77 residences, buildings, and 191 units.
Okay, so,
We do pay the WCA when we switch over.
On each unit or on each?
On each connection.
I think that WCA is gonna be determined on the value of your system. You know,
I mean, for the calculation's sake, like if you're doing the math, 77 and 191 are two drastically different numbers.
right.
it would be
191.
the 191, depending on the bedroom count. The bedroom count in the multifamilies would vary if it's a 1 bedroom, a half, and a 2 bedroom, 3/4. So until we know exactly what they have there in a unit count, I can't give you a number.
Yeah, and I mean, the value of the system, obviously, you talked about. So in a scenario where the WCA we're charging them is 1,500-ish, just I'm throwing a number out there.
Usually it's a good round number.
Probably, I mean, even if say their system's worth $3 million and it offsets it all, do we have that number of what are those two numbers again? There's the
WCA,
the existing and new are the two that we're
Correct.
talking about. One's, what was the one?
you should say 1,500 and 2,500 for round numbers.
So they're gonna be assessed. Regardless of where that comes out, oh, thank you. I'm like, at almost 200 units at the 1,500 on the minimum side, which is close to $300,000, or the 2,500, which is $500,000. So they're going to be contributing to the system that amount of money when they join in, regardless of whether it's their dollars or the value of their system.
You got the right concept there. I would suspect that there's gonna be a value to their system, so the $300,000 isn't gonna be a hard number. It's gonna be something less than that because they're gonna have some value.
Before we get too far in discussions, I do have two fill cards from people that would like to speak on this. Any objection to hearing them now?
No.
Well, I just have a quick comment before that. I'm just doing a quick calculation here. If there's 191 people, and a number last time was thrown out, a major rehaul could be $3 million or something. I remember hearing that. And if I divide that up, that's almost 16,000 at 191 each. $16,000 charged to the residents. So I just want to throw that out.
That won't be happening.
Yeah.
I think I made up that number at the last meeting, just as a hypothetical. So we're like, I think I just spoke that out.
Nothing even close to that.
Okay, and then I do appreciate Rick, the mayor, putting these 3 options in here, but the one that you brought up was not on here, and that's the 5-year that Bob was just talking about. So I don't know how we got from 5 to 15. And that was a big concern of mine when we went through all this, but I'll join in later with some more conversation after you let the people talk.
I think the way we got there is we recommended the 5, and the council thought there should be some kind of longer warranty period with a sliding scale. And that was in some of the comments we had after our first meeting.
After your recommendation is my point on there, but yeah, you're right.
Daniel, would you like to come up and talk?
You need name, address again?
I have that here.
Okay. So I spoke at the last meeting. I reached out to each and every alder person individually. I heard back from 6 of the 7, so I appreciate the 6 that reached out to me and had open discussion. Makes me proud to be a resident of Muskego, to actually be able to have an alder person call me on the phone or email me back and take the time out of their day to do so. I know a lot of this isn't your guys' full-time job, so thank you for that. Some clarification of, so just from discussions that we had, is what you guys would actually be taking over. There's discussion about how old our wells and everything are. I think they can attest that you guys wouldn't be taking over the wells. They're pretty much at zero use. So the only thing that the city would be taking over per se is you guys calling it like our system, is literally the mains, the pipes under the ground. We would be paying the price to abandon the wells at an estimated cost of about $10,000 to disconnect, and then also another $30,000 to abandon the wells. So us as a trust would be paying $40,000 just to get rid of those wells, okay? We understand that's our responsibility. We are willing to do that, okay? Included in that cost now would be a WCA, which I'm still trying to get clarification of what an actual WCA is. I don't know if anybody can answer that. Like, what is that for?
Either one of you.
The WCA stands for Water Capacity Assessment. Those funds go towards infrastructure, new wells, towers, oversized mains, things.
For the system itself.
For the system itself, system-wide.
Including mains?
Including oversized mains at this point.
Yeah.
There should be built into our rate structure, what they call a return on investment. It was intended to replace infrastructure in the future. Our utility, as water utilities go, is relatively young. It was formed in 1988. The first, I'm not sure how many years, probably 10 to 15 years, we had zero rate of return to keep our rates low.
We still don't have a rate of return.
That is, just for clarification, that is something that everybody pays when they hook up, when they first hook up.
Correct.
So, okay, if you want to continue. Okay.
Okay, so I guess my point to that being is like, we are going to be assessed this fee to go into money towards infrastructure, which includes mains, but now we are also going to have to pay for our mains if they would break. That is the understanding that I have. And if that is not the case, I guess my question to all of you would be, where do you generate the money when a main catastrophically breaks anywhere else in the city? Where would that funding come from?
So there are three things that happen when, we'll talk about a new developer, because that's
We keep talking about new developer, but we've been existing residents.
Doesn't matter, you're new to our system. So someone new to our system, which 90% of the time is a new developer. So they come in, they have to lay all the new pipes, do all the connections to the houses. They create their, let's just say, mini system that is not attached yet to our specs. So it's all brand new. Then through the agreement, they hook into the city the rest of our system, and this system is built to our specifications, so we know what's in the ground already.
Yep.
So that's one requirement. Second requirement is each connection pays a WCA. The third requirement is they also pay user rates. So what you're asking for is to pay the WCA and pay the user rates, but come in with and we're not saying you aren't providing a system, the mains. We're just asking to be kind of put you on a level playing ground with everyone else that comes in the system of, we have a new system in there. We're pretty certain, well, for one, we have somewhat of we get a warranty from the developer on it that's going to last a certain amount of time. Plus, we know it's brand new, so it's more than likely going to last much longer than that warranty. So we're just trying to put you on level playing ground to every other system that comes in.
What are the oldest mains in the city? It's my understanding that there's mains that run directly along ours, correct?
Yeah,
At the same time.
every community water system that's here, for the most part, were built in the mid-70s with the exception of a couple. They're, and used iron pipe like what's in yours. Lake Meadows and Marlin Meadows, I suspect, have plastic pipe because they were to the late 70s, early 80s.
I guess my question, so like Durham, you guys said there's mains that run along there because we're a close connection, correct? They are not a private trust, they're connected to city water, is that my understanding?
That pipe that's in Durham Drive, it ends just about at your well house,
Okay.
was put in by us with anticipation. When Janesville Road was being reconstructed, we proactively ran water main down Janesville Road, down Durham to your system, figuring sooner or later you guys are gonna connect.
Okay.
Nobody's connected to that other than the new developments going where the school was.
Do you know age of that?
Less than 10 years, probably 10 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess my question is, so like, because Muskego it's not all new construction, there is old construction, correct? Those are not all on private wells. Are there other places that have now connected in old construction into the system?
Certainly. Kristen Downs, Guernsey Meadows, were built in the 70s. We took them over in the late 80s, early 90s. Tudor Oaks and that whole complex up there, Lower Lake Brittany, pretty much built in the late 70s. We took them over, I want to say in early 2000s.
So 2 questions. Did they have to pay for their mains if they broke? And how have those mains held up?
There was no warranty on those that I'm aware of. They were much newer. I mean, they were built the same time yours was,
Okay.
but they were taken over
taken
20
over a
years
lot.
ago or more,
And they have
30
been in
years
place,
ago.
correct?
They have been in place and they have had some breaks.
So I just want to point out to everyone, and yourself included, that this policy we're putting forward, while affects you, it's not for you. Meaning, our whole idea is we realize that throughout the years, this is what, let's look at this and, we'll guess, and here's how we're going to do this one, and here's how we're going to do this one, and here's how we're going to do this one. We're trying to put a uniform policy in place for not only yours, but everyone else that comes after you. So
Sure. I mean, there's 4 of us left, and we're the only realistic one that's even going to do this.
No, I think at one time, you're going to have more than you. You're the most realistic one right now, but we're going to see more.
This whole policy that's in front of you and the matrix that we have put together to assess your system is all based on what the PSC requires us to do. The only thing that's different is the warranty period.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we're pretty much following what the PSC is requiring us to do.
And the warranty is the part that.
The warranty is
in
the only
dis-
thing different.
And that's the part that's in discussion,
Yes.
realistically. My other question to you was, sorry, Scott, I bring it to my phone here. Was what makes our system possibly more unsound than the other stuff? I'm talking like pressure-wise remains the same. We're at 65 PSI right now for ours. Is that what the city runs?
I'm going to suspect we're going to give you a little bit more than that. I don't know for sure because I haven't looked at the numbers there. I'm going to suspect we're going to give you more pressure, a greater volume.
Okay.
When you have a leak, it's going to bubble out of the ground. You'll see it and there's going to be, I know you guys have real high iron and it's going to take us some time to get that iron out of your system.
Okay.
But that's just one of the things that has to happen. Yours is a little probably worse than some of the systems we've taken over in the past, but it's not something we can't deal with.
Question real quick. So hooking up to our main with more pressure, more water and everything, could that cause yours to completely?
I would hope that it's not gonna completely fail, but I think we're gonna see the weak spots are gonna blow out.
Okay.
How soon?
I can't tell. There's no telling. I mean, it took Kristen Downs and Guernsey Meadows, it took 5 years before we started seeing problems in there.
So you're just talking basic maintenance blowouts. You're talking one here, one there.
Yeah. Just, these iron pipes are tending to break from the outside in. They're starting to corrode from the outside in and you get a pothole mark. When we do hydrant flushing, the weak spot blows out and we have a main break.
Anything else? I got nothing else.
All right, thank you. Cindy, did you want to add anything? Thank you.
As I have been listening, I just keep going cha-ching, cha-ching in my head, thinking, how much am I going to have to pay for this should something blow? And I just wanted to ask for mercy as you decide for this warranty, if you do a sliding scale with the 5-year or 15-year, because we're not just an island in of ourselves. We are members of the community. We shop at Muskego shops. We go to Muskego restaurants. We use grocery stores in Muskego, all which pay taxpayer dollars into our community. In fact, one of our family members in our neighborhood actually uses our water to water their gardens and then volunteers back to the community in such a way that they became a member in the garden walk for the library to raise money for the library. Another member sings for that event, and we're not only just an island in of ourselves, but we're members of the community. So I just ask for your mercy in this as members of the community to consider that as you make your decisions on how much we individually will end up having to pay in the long run. Thank you.
Thank you.
I know I said in the past, this is all kind of a good faith thing. The city let them build there. They didn't put city water into it when it happened. They're built about the same time as everybody else. They have the same pipes in as everybody else. Maybe they weren't maintained the same. I don't know all the answers of that. I just, the reason I got involved with trying to direct us in a different direction is that you're recommending 5 years, and after that last meeting when we put it all together, it went to 15 years, and I'm thinking 15 years is a very, very long time to do anything. And I think it's a big burden to put on the residents. We cost share in roads. Some roads are old, some are new, we fix them. 15 years is just a long time for anybody. I mean, you're hooking old people that have wells, going into the system without any warranties. I don't have a problem with 5 years. I'm the one who proposed the sliding scale on 5 years. I think that's more than fair. It gives everybody a chance to be covered, and it keeps everybody, a whole community. I mean, you guys know where I stand on this. I don't want to dwell on it, but that's where I'm at.
Thank you. I just want to point out, and then Alderman Crockett, I'll give you the floor. The 15 years did not come from staff or anyone else. That came from the council here. So just.
Well, and I wasn't in favor of it.
That's, right. I just want to point out that it wasn't our recommendation. For
no, and that's why I keep saying that 5 years is long enough. I just don't think 100% of 5 years, 100% every year is good.
Thank you.
I'd like to see something get broken up in that 5 years.
Alderman Kvaki.
I think it's important to note, as the mayor mentioned, that this isn't the only system that's out there that potentially would want to link into our system. And one of the things, this system has been in place for some 50 years. The pipes are ductile iron pipes, which have a tendency in acidic soil to degenerate over a period of time. We've got Lake Meadows. Lake Meadows is a little bit newer. They've got PVC pipes in theirs. That's in my district. We've got Hale Park, which is in Alderman Wolf's district, and I think you're a member of that trust. Is that correct?
Yeah, I am, absolutely.
Okay.
But we're not involved with this that's going on now. The dilemma there is that
this decision does affect that trust that you're a member of.
It affects the whole city.
And I believe
not just that trust.
I believe you're also a board member.
No,
on
you're
that
wrong.
Trust. Okay, nope. Then I'm incorrect. But you do live in that district.
Absolutely.
And the decisions that we make today.
But we can't make this for one trust. You're making these decisions.
Excuse me, Rob.
I
didn't interrupt you. The decisions that we make today would affect you. Could affect you in the future. So I would strongly have you consider recusing yourself on this vote because of that potential conflict. But that's up to you. But in any case, in this particular water trust, I understand that there's 3 wells, and one of the wells went bad. That I don't know what your reserve position is, but over 50 years, you would think your reserve position would be sufficient to certainly have a major impact on replacing the system. When a person buys a condominium, for example, the first thing you look at is what the reserve position is, because you've got a major capital investment in there, and if you don't have reserves to support that investment, that's just poor management from the homeowners association standpoint. I'm sorry? Over 50 years, that wouldn't be impossible.
All right, wait, I don't want I'm sorry, I don't want interaction from the floor.
Yeah. In any case, the life expectancy of a system, and I try to check this out as best I can, is about 50 years. That system's 50 years old. I agree that 15 years is probably too long of a period of time. I think 5 years, as suggested by the city, at 100% would be a fair situation for the city. And keep in mind, these are the other users. It doesn't affect me. I've got a well. But the other users of the system are going to be affected by some kind of major catastrophic problem with this system or any other system that decides to join into our network. So that's where I'm at.
Yes.
It's not unusual for these water systems to not have big cash reserves. They have no way to guarantee their members pay their bills. I think the one down by you has probably about a 30 or 40% participation rate. And it's really hard, and that's why you see in other communities, we took this template from Mequon. They've been forced by the DNR to take a lot of these over because these systems went broke. It's not unusual for these water systems not to have a lot of money in the bank. But
that's not an issue, Scott. The issue is that they should, but they don't.
They should, but they don't.
Lake Meadows should, but they don't. And that's not the problem of the other users.
No, you're absolutely right. I'm just saying it's not unusual to see that because they have no teeth to collect revenue from their members.
They have an HOA.
The homeowners association is different than water trust.
Yeah.
Anyone else before Alderman Wolf? I just want to.
Well, I just want to bring up a point that Kevin brought up. No, I'm not going to I'm going to stay with this meeting here because, number one, I'm elected to represent the people of my district, and that's what I do, and I'm very vocal about it. And number two, I'm elected to represent the city as well, and I'm vocal about that. So I'm going to stay on this topic. I'm not going to leave it. We have a healthy water system. We do everything right. We have money, escrow money put aside, so we're all right now.
We do not have a healthy water system.
He's talking about their water trust.
Oh, that way, yours. Okay, I thought you were talking about the city.
So I
as a
just
whole.
want to answer your questions.
Okay.
As long as you're going to direct it all towards me, I'm going to just tell you that I totally disagree with you. That I'm elected to represent the people in my district, and I believe that I'm doing that properly right now.
Any further discussion? I misunderstood what Alderman Wolf was saying, but I do want to reiterate, our current water system, with the exception of maybe the last year or two.
Well, you're talking financial health.
Financially?
I was talking healthy health.
Right. No, I'm talking financially from the system that is whole that they're asking to tie into has been operating at a deficit, with the exception of the last few years, where the last 2 years we've probably been about break even on it.
But that's a good point.
So any added cost to that system does put a strain on the rest of the system. We don't have the ability, we're PSC regulated, we don't have the ability just to raise rates to whatever level we want. We can only raise them a certain percentage every year, and that typically that percentage doesn't really cover what we need to raise them by. Alderman Wolf, did you have another point?
No, that's fine.
Okay. All right, so.
I got a question for you.
Okay, last time though, I can't have.
Well, this is kind of important to us.
That's fine.
You're saying that the municipality is, I don't want to say poorly run, but in poor financial restraints. You're telling us we should have $1 million saved up as 70 residences, but the city as a whole doesn't even have funds to repair.
We have reserves.
Oh, so you have reserves.
But on an there's two different things you look at a budget.
Where does that money come from reserves?
It comes from the rates, yeah. It comes from the rates. Yes.
From the rates. And we are going to be paying into that the second we make the connection. The city is not going to pay $1 for us to hook up. We are covering that. But the second we start paying our bills, we're going to have money going into that reserve, somewhat. So the diminishing responsibility makes sense. You're asking me to cover 100% for 5 years while I'm paying into reserve while somebody else's water main breaks and my money's being used to repair it. Because it could come from that reserve, correct?
Yes.
Yes, so my dollars are going to be used to pay for somebody else's mains, but you guys are saying you don't want to use other people's dollars in case our mains fail.
Correct.
I hope.
That's what we're saying.
How many users do we have currently?
Well, if you add up all the parcels in the thing I gave you.
We've got about 4,000 connections and about 9,000 actual users.
Okay, so we're talking 200 versus 8,000.
So I think to answer some of that question, to be fair about it, you can say shame on the city water for not running you can raise rates only legally by a certain percentage, yes. Right? And maybe they failed in the past to raise rates fast enough. So shame on us for not doing that. So there is a burden there, and it's, whose fault is it? It's the city's fault, just like it's your fault for or whatever metals you were talking about, or whoever fault it is. So that's why I keep using the word good faith. 5 years, percentage down. It's real simple. And we could get past this all and everybody would be happy. I just don't want to stick somebody with thousands and thousands of dollars with bills when we can do some cost sharing. And we're not, we do it with roads. We do it with water with the people that are there now. Am I in favor to have everybody join and give us a bad system? No. I don't think anybody's in favor of that. But at the same time, they were all built in good faith. And the city took that part and let them build there and taxed them on the properties and so on, which is separate. I understand that. But it's the bundle of the good faith that put this all together. And that's what I'm stuck on. I'm stuck on, you got me at the 15 years and you got me on the good faith. So, how do we resolve that as a whole? We got 7 people here. You know where I stand. You know what I want. I won't say any more.
I'd like to make a motion that we have this policy for a 5-year, 100% replacement with no other cost to the homeowner after 5 years.
So it's a 5-year warranty for catastrophic replacement of the mains.
Correct.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Discussion on the motion?
Yeah, I'd like to amend the motion. Is that a discussion, or can I do it? Can I not?
Trying to think.
Do we have to vote on that first, or?
You've got a second, right?
Yeah, got a second. We haven't, but there's a motion on the floor, so he can make a motion to amend it. You can make a motion to amend it.
If that gets,
Yes.
yeah, that'd have to pass.
I would be willing to go to 6 years and do some kind of discounting down. I mean, do we want to talk about this? Or you want me to throw something out there? Yeah, I got to throw it out there?
I think you need to throw something out there.
Yeah, I would do the first year 100% and then every year after that down to 0, however percentage it breaks down to.
I'll second that.
Just before we get there.
So it's 6 years, it'd be 0 instead of 5th year. You get.
Drop by roughly 16.67% each year.
But the first year is 100 and then.
20%.
20%, okay, yeah, the first year is 100%?
Yep.
Yeah, okay, so.
So I'm gonna go to, because nobody wanted my 5 years at 20%. I'll do the 6 years at 16.67.
Could have done 25.
So.
Or do 25 each, to 5 for 5 years?
100% year one, and then 20% drops after that.
I'm just trying to get you guys to do
So
something.
Alderman Wolf, just to clarify your motion, so year one's 100%, the following 5 years are 20% down each year. Is that what you're saying?
Okay.
Yes.
Is that it? Okay.
That's what he said.
So even though,
Wait, just let me
No.
get that out. Is
that
that okay
right?
well, I just want to clarify what your motion is.
The
I
year
don't-
6 would be 0 instead of year 5. The first proposal, like what we.
You said to go 6 years.
If it's a 5-year warranty, year 6 is 0. If we're doing 6 years, year 7 would be 0.
Okay, fine. That's good.
What did he say?
So year one, 100%, 20% down each year until 0.
Yep. That's what I
That's
said.
okay with the second? All right, now we can have discussion on that. Alderman Kvaki.
so even though we've got a 5-year period of time that our utility people are telling us that we won't know how the system operates, we want to throw that burden on the rest of the water utility users. I have a real problem with that. I think we need a fixed period of time to see how the system operates. I talked to somebody at Lake Meadows in fact, I played golf with them, and we were talking about their system, and he said, why would we want to join your system when our system works fine and our system operates at a fairly economical basis? And that question just, to me, looms out here. Why join us? If your system's working fine, why join us? I mean, it's cheaper. I mean, you need a well, so you put a well in, and everyone goes along merrily. So what are we buying here? That's what my question is. And to have a sliding scale like that, where in the 3rd year you're at 40% of the cost of a system?
60, I think, is the way I'm doing it. I don't.
Yeah, I mean, they're paying 60, we'd pay.
Yeah, it'd be 80% in the 2nd year, 70% or 60% in the 3rd year, 40% in the 4th year. So in any case, why would you want to burden the other utility users with that? To me, it's.
Well, they're already burdened because you're running in a deficit already.
Well, that's
So you're doing that as a whole as a city
So add
already.
a new system that's
But you're already doing that with city users already. You're already at a deficit. So why don't you correct that first and have them join a healthy system?
Well, we have.
Because you're going to burden them
I have
more.
the financials right here, you know.
See, by joining more people, you increase the revenue coming in. That's what this is all about.
But that revenue will get wiped out rather quickly.
Could be,
It
or could not be, or without them, it could too. But, you know, you're already at a deficit without them.
You're not
Maybe
at a
they'll make you more healthy.
I said we were. Currently, the last couple of years, we are not at deficit anymore, but we're not making a whole ton of money either.
For me, Kevin, the thing was that looking at the fees they're going to be paying on the WCA, right? They're already chipping in what everybody else is when they come on. If we weren't charging them and saying, hey, we're just going to take on your new system and pay for that little connecting pipe, but we're charging them what we would anybody else, you know, they're chipping in $300,000 into the system. Year 3, if there's a break, that 40% is probably going to be offset by the WCAs that are paid. So there's a little bit of that. I mean,
everyone else puts a new system in place.
Correct. And that's why we're having that. We're looking for a little bit of that on the front end. That to me was the thing that.
But this isn't a new system.
No, but I'm saying that they're contributing already, right? So we're taking $300,000 from them. If we have a 5-year warranty and it busts and we charge them fully for it, we've taken the WCA and we're having them put in a new system. So.
But as opposed to the developer that has what's our typical warranty we make developers do?
12 months.
Okay, so they got a 1 year, so they're giving a 1 year warranty, which is all you really get asking for. You're giving
100% 1 year.
Right. So, but we get 100% 1 year warranty and new pipes that we know aren't going to be breaking. I mean,
well, hopefully,
and if their
right?
system's so good, then the 5 years shouldn't matter.
I mean, with that theory, Rick, with that theory, we put Moreland Road in and we redid Moreland Road from Janesville down to Woods. So, you know, hopefully that was a new road and it was good and we shouldn't have been redoing it. So there's a lot of theory here. And I go back to the good faith thing. You know, it's really my whole basis is that the city let them develop there and didn't connect them to city water. And I know from history in you want to talk about District 1, the well that I'm pulling off of as a community well, the people that were involved with building that have told me that they were told that the city did not want them to put city water in at the time. So believe it or not, I'm going to go with the experts on there.
We didn't have city water at the time. They did that on their own accord. I cannot find anything in any records
I'm
that
just
they
going
were
by what they told
required
me.
to do what
They
they
asked
did.
the city to connect to city water. They wanted to do some city water.
There was no.
Water didn't exist.
Didn't exist. There was none. That's why that. I mean,
So when did city water start?
88.
88? Well, maybe that's when they wanted to connect. I don't know. But
they already had their system by then.
what's that?
They already had their system by then.
Yeah.
All right. Any further discussion? Can you do a roll call vote on this? Oh, wait, we have a motion, never mind. We
have a second. You had a second.
Yeah, we have a second. So on the roll call vote on the motion to amend to the 5-year, year 1, 100%, 20% down until 0. Motion to amend. So this is just on the motion to amend.
Alderman Madden? No. Alderman Kabaki?
No.
Schrader?
No.
Kapusta?
Yes.
Terrence?
Yes.
Hamel?
Yes.
And Wolf?
Yes.
All right. Any further discussion on the motion as amended? Same roll call vote on the motion as amended.
Aldermans Madden?
No.
Kubaki?
No.
Schrader?
No.
Kapusta?
Yes.
Terrence?
Yes.
Hamel?
Yes.
And Wolf?
Yes.
All right. That concludes this matter. Thank you. Moving on with the agenda.
Does that include the other 2 policies? Okay, I just want to make sure.
Yes. Review of committee reports in front of you. You have the Finance Committee meeting from May 24th for your review. License approvals. Approval of a salvage and recycling permit for Coney Salvage on Williams Drive.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Approval of a change of agent, Christina N. Blazik for the Class A liquor license held by M&N Shooting Enterprises LLC, DBA Boxhorn Gun Club, located on Boxhorn Drive.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes. Voucher approval.
Motion to approve utility vouchers in the amount of $72,836.97.
Second.
Alderman Madden. Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes.
Motion to approve tax vouchers in the amount of $304,000.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes.
Motion to approve general fund vouchers in the amount of $117,203.03.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes.
Motion to approve wire transfers for payroll invoices in the amount of $382,824.99.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes as well. City officials reports, we have none. Communications and miscellaneous business as authorized by law. Any updates from any of the committee liaisons? Hearing none. Any future agenda items requests? Otherwise, a motion to adjourn would be in order.
Motion to adjourn.
Alderman Schrader, do we have a second? Is that Alderman Madden? Were you the second on that?
Yeah.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned at 6:56. All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a happy 4th.